These young men are here for a job test. Some of them are graduates in engineering and law. Some even have a business postgraduate degree. Yet today, they are braced for a test for the post of a police constable.
मुंबई पुलिस कांस्टेबल रिक्रूटमेंट के लिए 2018 का जो हमने रिक्रूटमेंट शुरू किया था, उसमें हमें कुल मिला के अराउंड 1,84,000 के आसपास एप्लीकेशंस आए हैं.
New India is unable to find jobs, and it's not just in Maharashtra. This is the story of India, where the employment rate is seeing a decline.
मार्केट में अभी जॉब ही नहीं है.
नहीं, अभी टीचिंग जॉब गवर्नमेंट ने टीचर जॉब ही नहीं निकाला तो क्या करने का, वैकेंसीज नहीं है ना. अच्छा. सब स्कूल बंद हो रहे हैं, अभी कैसा स्कूल आने वाले हैं.
1,87,000 फॉर्म आए, उसमें से 50 आएंगे.
बहुत सारे जॉब सीकर्स जो जॉब ढूंढ रहे हैं, उनको पता बहुत कम नॉलेज है कि उनको जॉब कहाँ पे अप्लाई करना है, कैसे अप्लाई करना है. तो शायद ये ट्रेनिंग एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट्स में होनी चाहिए.
The World Bank report has recommended that India creates at least 8 million new jobs to ensure that employment rate is maintained. As young India searches for jobs, Mira now asks, are professional and skilled graduates forced to try out for a police post for the lack of other options? Has government policies for job creation translated to any action on ground? Let's debate.
You're watching the Urban Debate on Mirror. I'm Faye D'Souza. Thank you for joining us. Last month, the Indian Railways opened up applications for 90,000 jobs. They received 25 crore applications. Or 2.5 crore applications, I beg your pardon, which is more than the population of Australia. Now we know also a similar story brewing in Mumbai, where we've received far more applications for jobs than were available. And the interesting part about these applications is that for these police constable jobs, we've received applications now from people who are qualified to be lawyers, who have done their MBA, and people who have studied engineering. Is it because the private sector is not able to employ these people that they're looking for public sector jobs, or have we simply failed to create the number of jobs that we need? That's the question we're asking this evening. Where are the jobs? And can India afford to have these many young people out of work? Joining me on the show, Krish Lakshmikant, the founder, chairman of Headhunters India, Vishwas Pathak, spokesperson of the BJP, Sulaiman Khan of the Congress will join us as well, Shailesh Gandhi, former Central Information Commissioner, Arun Kumar is an economist, Rajiv Mishra, RT activist, will join us through the course of the show, and Ravi Srivastav, one of the founding members of the Aam Aadmi Party. I welcome all of you to this conversation. I'm going to start with Mr. Srivastav here. Mr. Srivastav, the numbers actually are quite shocking. If we see 2 lakh people have applied for a little over 1,000 jobs, this would mean that 22 lakh of those people would go home without jobs and would remain out of work. That's a scary idea.
The job situation is indeed pathetic in the country. The way our Prime Minister in the 2014, when he took over as a Prime Minister of the country, he had assured 2 crore jobs per year. With that accumulation, we should have provided at least 8 crore people with some job. India's young generation today is totally disillusioned. Your reports show for 1137 posts, you have got 1,84,000 people applying. And engineers, MBAs, doctors, mass communication graduates, postgraduates, those kind of people are applying for those jobs. The situation is so grim that you are going to see a kind of a severe unrest in the nation. And when you go to the government, you ask them the question that what you are going to do, they come with the response that go sell pakoras on the road. You must have seen the people, you know, in Bangalore where people with their robes and all, and they were selling the pakoras. So this is the kind of a response which government is giving instead of creating the proper job opportunities and skilling people to take over those jobs. This is another aspect, that job skilling is totally missing. You have got graduates, you have got postgraduates, you have got doctorates who are applying for the job of the peon. In the railway, you have shown your report only that 90,000 jobs, some 2.5 crore people are applying. So rest will again remain on the roads only. So this is a pathetic situation, and the government has to take it seriously. It's a gross failure on the part of government in last 4 years.
Let me bring in Mr. Arun Kumar, who's an economist. Mr. Kumar, there are various theories that do the rounds. That perhaps one theory is that these people who are currently applying for these jobs within the government are doing so because even though they may be qualified with an MBA, they're not really very well qualified. They're not employable because the education is not up to the mark. Or is it that we've just not been able to grow business and we haven't been able to create jobs? Mr. Kumar.
So there are several economic factors which are resulting in poor employment situation. The first, of course, is that investment rate, which had peaked at 38% in 2008, has now declined to roughly about 30%. So this decline in investment has led to less employment creation than earlier. Second factor is that we have a very large unorganized sector which employs 93% of the workforce, and only 7% is in the organized sector. But unfortunately, it's in the unorganized sector that 80% of the investment is going, and that is going to create automation and reducing job creation, and therefore, in a sense, you have jobless growth. And those who are in the unorganized sector, they basically are in the micro sector. You know, there is a medium sector, there is a small sector, but those are quite tiny. It's the micro sector which is employing the bulk of the people, which of the 93%. But there, very little investment is going. So in a sense, there also you're not generating jobs. Then the third problem is that agriculture, where the bulk of our employment is, about 45% of the employment, there the investment is very low. And whatever investment is going into agriculture is also going for automation. So you have more tractors, you have more harvester combines, you have more threshers, etc. So very little job is being created in agriculture also. So in a sense, the pattern of investment is governed by the kind of technology and the kind of globalization that we have, where under globalization we are going in for advanced technology in most sectors, and when we go in for advanced technology, then job creation is not there. So you can see, for instance, earlier when road construction was there, on a road construction project, hundreds of people would be employed. But today, when you see a road construction project with big machines, there are hardly 5 or 10 people employed. So even when infrastructure investment is taking place, it's not really generating much jobs. So in a sense, technology today has become the big disruptor, and that is going to continue because, for instance, today now we are talking about driverless cars, driverless trucks. So millions of jobs of drivers could go.
Would you say then a promise that we will create 1 crore jobs a year, which was an election promise, was perhaps not the right thing to have done at that point? If you're saying that modernization will also result in joblessness, then promising that we can create 1 crore jobs as a country, was that not necessary or shouldn't have been made at all?
No, so we need to promise our youth. If our youth is unemployed, I think there'll be a huge crisis, you know. The expectation of the youth is a good life today. And if you don't promise jobs, then there'll be a problem. So you need to promise them, but you also need to deliver. I think the problem is that we promised, but we have not delivered. Now, to deliver jobs, the question is, where do we deliver them? So, for instance, in education and in health, which are labor intensive, where you need a lot of people, there our investment is very low. Our target was 6% of GDP on education, public education, way back in the this Kothari Commission report in 1964, but we have never exceeded 3.8%. And today we don't have enough qualified people to fill our positions. So central universities, IITs and various other places have 40% vacancies. So there are large number of vacancies, but we don't have qualified enough people to fill those jobs because the investment in education is inadequate, investment in health is inadequate. And as I said, our investment rate, which had peaked at 38% in 2008, has dropped to about 30% now. So 8% drop in investment also means less job creation. And let me say that 8 million jobs are not enough, because today about 15 million children are entering the job market. So we need to promise 15 million additional jobs every year, and then to cover the backlog we need more jobs. So actually today, if we talk about creating adequate jobs, we should be talking about something like 20 million jobs creation today. But for that we need to have the proper mix of technology, proper mix of investment, and proper mix of correct policies of the government.
All right, let me bring in some of the people who are calling on our phone lines. Our phone lines are open. we need to promise 15 million jobs, said Mr. Arun Kumar, who's an economist. I don't think promising is the problem. I think keeping the promise would be a little more of a challenge. Dharmesh on the phone line from Mumbai. Dharmesh, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Dharmesh.
Yeah, yes, we are having severe job crisis, as the major reason is there is absolutely no demand in housing, automobile, travel sector and all other such sectors.
Yes.
Due to no purchase power, absolutely no purchase power for with a majority of the common people, due to severe imbalance in the prosperity and the prosperity. 1% of the people enjoying 70% of the national wealth, and rest of the 30% are hardly having any purchase power.
Right. So you're saying business is doing badly. Wilfred on the phone line from Odisha. Wilfred, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to ask the government that they have introduced so many schemes, and now in Odisha we have so many colleges over here where all the children from other states are coming and studying, and there are no jobs at all. What is the government doing about this?
Yes.
If they're not going to give us jobs and they're going to make our children study, and this is the thing they're calling Achha Din.
Where are
What
the
is Achha Din?
Okay.
There's no such thing as Achha Din.
All right, let me bring in Vishwas Pathak of the BJP. Mr. Pathak, you've been hearing, you've heard so far what everyone has said. I want your response. Now, this is clearly an election promise that the government made to create 1 crore jobs per year. So, after 4.5 years, you should have created 4.5 crore jobs, which has not happened, obviously. What is your response to what we're seeing today?
See, it is true that whatever we expected and we wanted to, we have not yet achieved it. However, what progress we have made, let me tell you with some figures and facts. First of all, since 1993-94 till 2011-12, during this almost 20 years, our average growth in job rate was 1.1%. These are the figures from National Sample Survey of India. And this 1.1% has gone up to 4% in 2016 when our government came in power. We created 17.7 million jobs. Thereafter, year on year, there is no much growth, but we are maintaining same thing. In 2017, 17.8 million jobs have been created. In 2018, 18 million jobs have been created. Now, these figures I am talking about formal sector alone. First, let us understand
hang on. You said 18 million jobs. 18 million jobs. So 1.8 crore jobs in the formal sector.
Sir, do you have any data backing up this? Or you are just talking now?
No, let me complete. See, I did not interrupt anyone. Let me complete now.
I'm not interrupting. Right. I'm just asking you.
Hey, and Mr. Srivastava, don't interrupt me. Let me complete first.
Okay.
See, the sharing pattern of job market is like this. 30% is contributed by government jobs, 20% by private sector, and 50% by informal sector. This is the demography. Now, what we are talking about today's news, that for 1100 posts, 1,84,000 and odd applications have been received. See, I want to correct for your viewers. You also talked about railway recruitment and 2.2 crores applications and all that thing. See, whenever applications are made, all those are never unemployed. In same news, if you have read it, a person who is drawing 15,000 rupees, he is aspiring to go for 25,000 rupees. So there are some employed people also who is seeking the job. So they are not all unemployed, number one. Secondly, for creation of job, this government is committed to create more and more self-employment. For a massive country like India, job market employment, that to government employment, cannot really fulfill the requirement. Therefore, our thrust is on self-employment. If you look at the disbursement of loan through Mudra, 11 crores people have been benefited. If you look at the registration in PF, it has gone up massively to the extent of 7.5 crores. So, in totality, although the picture is not that good the way we wanted, but it is not that bad also the way it is being projected.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pathak, if you're done making your point, I just want to rebut a couple of things. You said that of the 2 lakh people who applied for the 1,100 jobs available, not all of them are jobless. They're doing this for the higher pay. Let me point out to you, of these 2 lakh people, 423 were...
See, all are not unemployed.
No, don't interrupt me, Mr. Pathak. Don't interrupt me, Mr.
Pathak.
Pathak. You know, you said I shouldn't interrupt you, so now you should let me finish. Of these people, 423 engineers, 167 MBA degree holders, 543 postgraduate MCom, 28 B.Ed, 34 Masters in Computer Science, 159 MSc, 25 Bachelor in Mass Communication, and some Ayurvedic doctors and some MBA holders as well, 3 LLBs, 3 lawyers. Now, what were they vying for this higher pay? 25,000 rupees in salary and constable quarters in the city of Mumbai. This is the higher pay. Now tell me, who in this country, in whichever part of the country, could have done in engineering or an MBA or even an LLB looking for a 25,000 rupee job? Rajiv Mishra.
फिर अभी मुझे पाठक साहब को जो मैं सुन रहा था तो मुझे राज ठाकरे की वो बात याद आ रही है जो 4 दिन पहले उन्होंने अपने भाषण में कहा था कि बीजेपी के लोग आंकड़े गिनाने में बड़े माहिर हैं और कैसे 6.8 और 68.6 इस सब का खेल ये लोगों को बहुत पता है। मैं आपको बता रहा हूं फे कि क्लास 4 जॉब है, कांस्टेबल का जॉब क्लास 4 जॉब की तरह की माना जाता है और मुंबई में क्लास 3 जॉब का उसको दर्जा प्राप्त है। वहां पर आप देखो 2 लाख कैंडिडेट अगर आ रहे हैं सिर्फ 1100 जॉब के लिए, 1100 पोस्ट के लिए, तो आप इसी से अंदाजा कर लो कि इस देश में अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट की स्थिति क्या है। वो कोई ऑफिसर्स ग्रेड का जॉब नहीं है जहां लोग अपनी सैलरी को इंक्रीज कराने के लिए वहां पर जा रहे हैं, पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं है। दूसरी बात तो ये मैं आपको बताऊं कि इन लोगों का जो गवर्नमेंट रहा है, मुझे ये नहीं लगता कि जॉब सिक्योरिटी जो एक बड़ी बात होती है ना, फिर वही एक कारण है, सबसे मेजर कारण जो गवर्नमेंट जॉब की ओर लोगों को आकर्षित करता है, क्योंकि वहां जॉब सिक्योरिटी है। अभी जो प्राइवेट सेक्टर के जॉब की आप जब भी बात करेंगी तो वहां पर एक चीज जो देखा गया है कि वहां जॉब सिक्योरिटी कैसे निश्चित हो लोगों की। अगर हम 10 साल आपके इंस्टीट्यूशन में काम कर रहे हैं और 10 साल बाद आप मुझे निकाल दे रहे हैं तो मेरा एक बड़ा एज पीरियड जो है वो खत्म हो जाता है और उसके बाद मुझे नौकरी मिलनी मुश्किल होती है। तो ये जॉब सिक्योरिटी प्राइवेट सेक्टर में कैसे फिक्स की जाए, उसके लिए कैसे अच्छे कानून बनाए जाए जिससे लोगों का जॉब सिक्योर्ड हो सके, लोगों को जो सुविधाएं गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर्स के द्वारा प्राप्त होती हैं वो कैसे प्राइवेट सेक्टर में भी मिल सके, इन सब चीजों को लेकर के गवर्नमेंट हैज नो पॉलिसी। इसलिए आप गौर करेंगे कि जब भी गवर्नमेंट का कोई सेक्टर में जॉब क्रिएशन आता है तो आप देखेंगे वहां पर अप्लाई करने वाले लोगों की संख्या प्राइवेट की अपेक्षा 100 टाइम्स ज्यादा होती है, क्योंकि लोग सिक्योर्ड जॉब चाहते हैं, लोगों को अपना फ्यूचर सिक्योर्ड चाहिए होता है, इसलिए लोग गवर्नमेंट जॉब की ओर। और आज गवर्नमेंट की स्थिति यह है कि दिनों दिन गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स में वो कटौती करते जा रहे हैं और आप जिस डिपार्टमेंट में जाओ, जिस सरकारी विभाग में जाओ, वहां के लोग यह रोना रोते हैं कि साहब हम कैसे काम करें, मेरे यहां तो कर्मचारियों का इतना अभाव है, कोई स्टाफ नहीं है, कोई सर्वे करने लायक लोग नहीं है, हम कैसे काम करें। एक तरफ डिपार्टमेंट कहता है कि वो बहुत ही लैक ऑफ स्टाफ में उसका काम चल रहा है और दूसरी तरफ गवर्नमेंट कहती है कि तुम और जॉब घटा दो। ऐसी स्थिति में इस देश को आखिर चलाएगा कौन, कंट्रोल कौन करेगा, कैसे सारे नियम कानून का पालन हो पाएगा, ये सब एक मेजर इशू जुड़ा हुआ है गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के जॉब से, जिस पर कि आज किसी भी गवर्नमेंट का ध्यान नहीं है। और मैं आपको बता दूं, हम जो जॉब क्रिएशन नहीं कर रहे हैं उससे जो लॉस हो रहा है वो अगर आप इमेजिन करेंगी तो जो टैक्स चोरी वगैरह हो रहे हैं या जितने भी बाकी सब काम हो रहे हैं, अगर आप उसका सर्वे करेंगी तो आपको मालूम होगा कि उससे बहुत अच्छा था कि हम जॉब क्रिएट कर करके इन सब जो लकुना है इस पर हम विराम लगा पाते। तो वो करने की ओर किसी भी गवर्नमेंट का कोई ध्यान नहीं है और कहीं भी गवर्नमेंट जॉब को बढ़ाने के लिए कोई प्रयास नहीं हो रही है और जॉब सिक्योर्ड प्राइवेट सेक्टर में कैसे हो इसके लिए कोई प्रयास नहीं हो रहा है। यही कारण है कि गवर्नमेंट जॉब में इतने लोग दिखाई दे रहे हैं।
शैलेश गांधी, former Central Information Commissioner, where do you stand on the jobs problem? And if we consider specific industries, Mr. Gandhi, textile, infrastructure and real estate, housing construction have come to a grinding halt. And these are the heavy employers. These are the industries that employ a large number of people with limited skills. Do you believe we're facing a crisis?
First, I think when this promise was made by this current government, they had no clue how to do it. And I'm also submitting the earlier government also had no clue how to do this. Let me submit something. What should be priority one for the Indian government should be job creation. You hardly hear of it except once in a way in a TV discussion of this nature. Job creation must be something that day in, day out, everyone, including the Prime Minister, should be talking of. And how can it be achieved? And there are measures by which it can be done. As Arun Kumar said, spending far more on education and medical health would create jobs and would lead to better education and would lead to better medical facilities for the poor. Similarly, as this gentleman suggested earlier, government jobs, 20 to 30% are lying vacant. 20 to 30%. When you mentioned the fact that railways had advertised for 90,000 posts, nobody's questioning how come 90,000 posts suddenly are required. Isn't job giving employment a regular process, and should it not be a regular process? In fact, even in our judicial system, there is a 20% vacancy at all times, and nobody is bothered about it because job creation is not priority number one. How can it be done? Let me give a few simple suggestions. A, for the West, productivity is measured by man-hour spent to produce a unit. For India, I would submit it should be capital spent per output, because that is our critical thing, and we should not be shying away from employing more people if required. In fact, we should encourage it. Two, if the government incentives and fiscal incentives given to businesses and industries were linked to job employment, how many people do you employ? Based on that, you can get certain incentives or subsidies. I think the world would change. Businessmen will find ways of meeting this. Unfortunately, what has happened is the government is very keen on getting capital at low so that the big business people get things at low cost and therefore can automate completely and import all kinds of equipment, leaving people without jobs. There is no strategy, there is no plan of any nature. And I would say India should start considering leaving vacancies in any position as a sin. Government work is suffering. 20 to 30% vacancies in all places, everywhere, including judiciary, and we are not bothered. We are not concerned about this. Why are we leaving this? And then we expect good governance, and we have discussions and conversations saying, why don't we get good governance? How will we get good governance unless you resolve these issues? And there is not, in fact, I was told yesterday in Maharashtra state, the dictum is, do not employ people to fill in the positions of those who retire. That's the way government is cutting costs. This is priority one. Pakoda selling may get you something, but there'll have to be a number of people who will buy pakodas. That won't happen. Because if you create jobs, then there's a greater spin-off advantage that you will get in terms of people purchasing various things, and your economy will grow. We are trying to make the economy grow by making the share market grow.
Yeah, which is not really, I mean, that's not real money, that's virtual money. But I have a couple of people on the phone line. I want to bring them in first, if I may. Neha Katari on the phone line from Delhi. Neha, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Faye. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, loud and clear, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I think this, question of the vacancy of jobs that we have and what steps have been taken to actually fill those vacancies is still a question mark, because nowadays, the youth, we keep on saying that India is a young country, but I don't see options for that youth to actually get themselves employed somewhere. And even if the employment, exists, it somewhere has been reduced to mere exploitation of that youth, right? And I think what do I feel is now, my parents used to, keep on, taunting us with the fact that they used to do their 10th and 12th and they could find themselves in better places. But nowadays, doing even graduation, post-graduation, we land up nowhere. We are just sitting at our homes because we don't find the right job.
Because you don't find the right job. Rajiv Patnaik from Pune. Mr. Patnaik, go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Part of question is about the vacancy about the railway. In the Rajya Sabha, there is replying from the minister that there is more than 220,000 vacancies.
Right. Okay, so I'll come back to you, Mr. Patak. Unfortunately, the connection is not very good. But I know that we have to give Vishwas Patak an opportunity to respond.
Yeah, before that, I just want to ask a question to Mr. Patak. There was a Skill in India mission started sometimes in 2015, and an amount of 1176 crore was spent on that. Then what that particular Skill in India has resulted into, and what kind of jobs have been created because of that? Now, I would like to add one more point here, that there is a mushrooming growth of the management and engineering institutes on the roadsides. What you find is those people, they are graduates from there or postgraduates from there, are not employable because the particular skills which are required have not been imparted to them. Just the quality of education has gone substantially down, and there the result is the MBAs are working as a courier boy for Amazon or Swiggy, or some people, qualified people, are taking to very ordinary jobs for that matter, to keep themselves
It was supposed to be
surviving.
a quick question. It was supposed to be a quick question. Vishwas Patak, I'm reading out data right now from the Labour Ministry as picked up and quoted by India Spend, which is a website that does research. This is what it says. According to India Spend and the Labour Ministry, the BJP in its first 3 years of government created half the number of jobs that the UPA did in its last 3 years of government. So we're comparing apples and apples here, 3 years and 3 years. What's your response to that, Vishwas Patak?
No, I gave you a report from NSSO that during earlier regime for 20 years, our growth rate was 1.1. And 16 onwards.
No, but I'm giving you government data. No, hang on. Mr. Patak, I'm telling you this is Labour Ministry data. This is government data. Why are you quoting a private data paper to me, but I'm quoting government Labour Ministry data to you? Which one should we rely on most? The Labour Ministry of the Government of India.
Okay, I buy your argument.
Yes.
I buy your argument, but let me put certain things in perspective. This data is talking about formal employment. I told you 30% is government, 20% is private, 50% is informal. Now the discussion which we are discussing on is about today's news. Now today's news, I want to put certain things on perspective. Number one, for this constable appointments and all that thing, this is not first time that this kind of over applications are being received.
Yes, this is the first time we've hit the 2 lakh number though.
The total which...
This is the first time it has hit the 2 lakh number.
No, wrong.
For these many jobs. Are you sure?
No, see, I'll tell you.
In Maharashtra,
For 1136 jobs, only 1136 constables.
No, now let me complete. See, whatever numbers you read out, that 434, 236 and all that thing, all put together becomes 1100. Now 1100 is 0.5% of that 2 lakhs. Now these people, try to understand what kind of people they are. I agree with Mr. Srivastava that because of the various colleges mushrooming, boys are becoming engineers and all those things. But somehow they cannot converse in English, and therefore they are going for government secure job with Marathi kind of communication. Here again, they have certain ambitions. People who join as an engineer, they are not living. They are also coming with the intention that eventually they will get promoted to engineering because wireless division is there. Lawyers are going into CBI or economic wings. So they also have their plans.
What?
So that though the entry is lower, eventually they can.
Mr. Patak, are you telling me that a lawyer who wants to work for the CBI is going to apply for a constable position that involves long jump? It involves 100 meters running and running on the freeway in the sun? A qualified lawyer? And if you're telling me that there are colleges that are educating people without the ability to give them jobs, who's putting those colleges? Who gave these colleges permission? Who's in charge of education in our country?
For direct recruitments also, there is a fierce competition. So there are some boys who knows their strengths and weaknesses. They are opting for these departmental promotions also. So this is also matter of their to some extent.
इस देश के युवाओं के टैलेंट पर आप उंगली उठाना बहुत आसान समझ रहे हैं पाठक साहब. पहले अपने गवर्नमेंट के गिरेबान में झांक के देखिए. इस देश के युवाओं के टैलेंट पर जो आप अपना जो विश्वास,
आप जो बात करते हैं, मुझे तो लगता है आपको प्रधानमंत्री बनाना चाहिए. हर चीज के ऊपर आपके पास इतने सोल्यूशन होते हैं, आपके प्रधानमंत्री
पाठक साहब अगर ढंग से सोचिएगा, इस देश को लेके सोचिएगा ना, तो सॉल्यूशन आपके दिमाग में भी पैदा होंगे.
जीडीपी बढ़ने वाला है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिलने वाला है, उसको आप ही सब पैनलिस्ट लोग विरोध करते हैं. पहले आप अपना माइंड बनाओ, what exactly you want.
Well, Mr. Pathak, I want to point out to you that it is really, no, hang on, Mr. Pathak, it is a really unfair thing to say that we need to make up our minds what we want. We didn't say we wanted 1 crore jobs a year, we were promised 1 crore jobs a year. Now, after nearly the entire term is over, it is only fair that we ask for accountability of those promises. But nobody asked for the bullet. Who asked for the bullet train?
Why are you opposing that?
Who asked for the bullet train?
आप क्यों सब्जेक्ट को भटका रहे हो?
One second. I have other guests. Krish Lakshmikant, founder chairman of Headhunters India. Mr. Lakshmikant, I'm sorry, and Suleiman Khan, I'm sorry for keeping you waiting for so long. Mr. Lakshmikant will speak now.
Make development also. We have to talk about GDP also. See, in your debate, you just pick and choose one point and just try to
Faye, all I can say.
Tell him to,
just keep quiet. I mean, he keeps on talking, madam. I can't.
No, please, Mr. Lakshmikant, go ahead, please.
There are something like. Yeah, there is a very big mismatch between what the education system is and where the jobs are. It is not that jobs are not there. There are jobs. For instance, we are hiring for a client about 800 people, but most of them have to be from the machine tool industry. They have to be skilled, what you can call NTTF engineers. And these people would have done just not even graduation, they would have done +2 and then they would have gone for a 2-year machine tool course. They are paid something like 15 to 20,000 rupees straight from the college. Whereas if you take an engineer, a software engineer from those 6,500 colleges which are there in India, you will get the cream will get jobs, but the balance are willing to take even 5,000 rupees jobs, delivery jobs in Swiggy and so on. So there is a very big mismatch, and this is what the government has to look at. Take industry, for instance, which can create employment. Entertainment, you are in the entertainment industry. I am sitting in Film City in Delhi, and I find that there are so many studios. The taxi driver who dropped me, his son is doing something in creative arts. Now that is a job, that is a position where skill, if you learn, you will get a job. Whereas if you do a BCom or a BSc or a engineering or an MBA from those 5,000 plus schools, you won't get a job, I can tell you. We hire a lot of MBAs for our company, and even today in many of the top business schools, a lot of students who have passed out in 2018 are still looking for jobs. Like even yesterday I heard a person from one of the IIMs, and I know in that IIM there are at least 50-60 people who are still looking for jobs who have passed out in 2018. Now the other one which I can think of is the aging population, physiotherapy. Now physiotherapy, you don't need a 5-year course. It can be taught. You don't have
Mr. Lakshmikant, explain to me. Mr. Lakshmikant, I understand what you're saying. Explain to me why, when the railways opens 90,000 positions, we get applications more than the population of Australia. Why is it when Mumbai police opens 1,130 applications or positions, we get 2 lakh? What are we missing here? Does this mean unemployment has gone up? Does it mean that these, like Mr. Vishwas Pathak is saying to us, these people are bored? What is it?
No, you take UP, they advertised in 2015, there were 23 lakh applications, not 2 lakh applications, for something like 240 peon jobs, of which PhDs were 25, postgraduates were 25,000, graduates were 150,000. I'm talking of 23 lakh people who applied for a peon's job. Now this is why I'm saying there is a mismatch. We cannot do anything about it. There are jobs available, and the government has to seriously rethink. If they don't do it, it will continue to be like this, and it will become worse.
Suleiman Khan of the Congress, please go ahead. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting this long, Suleiman Khan. Please go ahead.
No problem, I understand your limitations. You have 7-8 guests on your show. So I'll just say on this issue of employment, we all know that half of the country's population is below 25, 2/3 is below 35. They are all, inspiring young people who wants a job. Mr. Modi has promised 2 crore jobs a year. So by 4th year, he should have created 8 crore jobs. To my understanding, he has not even, created 80 lakhs jobs. To my understanding, there is no data which has been released by the government officially in the parliament. Job creation is really a challenge in today's India for past 15 years or 20 years, because every year lakhs and crores of people are coming out in the market and they want a job. So different sectors have to create job. To boost jobs, you have to boost domestic consumption. Agricultural growth rate has to increase. Micro, small and medium enterprises has to be focused. Private investments have to come. And there are a lot of things which have to be boosted. What Mr. Modi has done, he has promised 2 crore jobs a year. But that came out to be a jumla. When asked in an interview, he said that even making pakoras is a job. Tomorrow I fear he can say even begging is a job. So this type of insensitive statements are being made by the government. And one argument which has been done by the BJP spokesperson, that a lawyer applying for a constable job, it's very absurd. As the news is getting tight on the BJP because of the unrest in the people about nothing is being done, about the bad governance which the government has done, their spokesperson are setting and stating absurd arguments. In the evening in one of the show, one of the spokespersons said that this cash crunch is the reason because after demonetization, population has increased, therefore there is a cash crunch. So these type of absurd arguments are coming, right. But actually Modi ji and the government has for 4 years, it was all advertising, no work on the ground. They have not made a policy that they have promised 2 crore jobs a year.
No, but hang on. Sulaiman Khan, there has been work happening. There is work happening in the Prime Minister's employment guarantee plan.
One allegation has been put on me. May I reply to that? The data which the Labour Ministry, as said by one of the gentlemen on the panel, that we have never promised 2 crore jobs. We have promised that we'll try our level best. But still we have created double the number of jobs what has been created by Modi ji. So they have completely failed on this front. Youth of the country is waiting to vote in all the assembly elections, coming elections, and 2019 Lok Sabha elections. BJP spokesperson, all the spokesperson are fudging data. They are lying on the channels. They are, painting a picture.
Okay, all right. You're just making allegations at this
I
point.
want to make here that first of all, the government's another failure is to arrest the job losses as well. There is a telecom sector employing 3 lakh people.
Yes.
75,000 people are on the road because of their own mergers and all. There are other sectors like IT sector. There a lot of job losses are there and people are on the road because of unemployment.
Unorganized sector.
Okay, calm down. Now, Sulaiman Khan.
Demonetization.
Hang on. Take a breath. Sulaiman Khan, I've heard you out. Now, we have to all be very clear about the fact that if it's an open capitalist market, which is what we are, you can't have a government going around telling private businesses how many people they can and cannot employ. That is not how this market functions. That's not how India functions as a market. Now, I have a couple of people on the phone line, and after which I'm going to go back to Mr. Arun Kumar. M. Krishna from Mangalore. 1 second, Sulaiman Khan. M. Krishna
Modi
from
ji promised 2 crore jobs. He has to create.
I think the number was 1 crore. Yes.
Fraud on the people.
Mr. Krishna, go ahead.
2 crores.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Very quickly, please.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me to give my opinion. There are 2 aspects. One is a large number of unemployment, and the vacancies in the government departments. Unemployment is a Herculean task because of the population and so many other factors. The other, it's not possible for the government to provide for all jobs to all the unemployed people in this one. But at the same, now it's the responsibility of the government also. But at the same time, one of the esteemed members of the panel was telling that the efficiency of the output is affected because of the large number of vacancies in the government department. But nowhere the attempt is not made to increase the efficiency of the existing staff. I have retired after 36 years of service. I feel even if every government servant works for 5 to 6 hours in a day with passion and involvement and concern, definitely in every department most of the problems should be solved. The main emphasis should be on the increasing the efficiency, and we should make them responsible and accountable. That is not in the government service. Very sorry.
All right. We also have Dr. Siddiqui from Lucknow. Dr. Siddiqui, very quickly, go ahead.
Yes, I want to say, madam, thank you for calling. Because I want to say that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, this was the nara of our government and our Prime Minister. But nothing has fulfilled in the last 4 years, and we had been badly cheated. And there is a rise in unemployment, which is seen from your...
All right, so you're worried about the rise in unemployment. Pradeep Kumar from Chennai. Pradeep Kumar, go ahead.
Yes, as per me, the employability of Indian graduate, whether it is an engineer or a regular graduate, is very low. Maybe the education system itself has to be fine-tuned.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. I want to take that back to Arun Kumar. Mr. Kumar, you had your hand up. I know you wanted to comment. Go ahead, sir, please.
Yeah. So what I want to say is that the nature of employment in India should be understood. You see, the organized sector is where the system is creating employment. But it's the unorganized sector where large number of people are creating self-employment because they are not able to get a proper job. So in a sense in India, because we don't have social security, there's nobody who's unemployed. If you look at the unemployment data, it is always around 3%. Because people are underemployed. People stand in the market for 12 hours, 14 hours and get 2 hours of job. So they are looking for some permanent kind of a job, and that's why you have this large number of applications for a few jobs, whether it be peons or railways or it be the police, etc., because they don't have it. Second point I want to make is that the quality of education is so poor that ACER reports show that 50% children in the 5th class cannot do second class writing, cannot do second class reading, cannot do second class maths. So these people don't have the skills to get a modern day job. So in effect what you have is, for these people you have to create jobs through investment, and it is investment in the appropriate places. What we have done since independence is we have targeted investment, but we have not targeted employment. And that's why employment generation has always lagged behind, and that's why our unorganized sector is so large, which is basically a residual sector where the system is not generating employment. People are having to generate their own employment at very low level of wages. And that's why when you have engineers or MBAs who work for 5,000 rupees or 7,000 rupees, those are the people who don't have the skills to be able to get into the organized sector job. And there is a mismatch between the jobs and the people who are there. So in effect, our education policy, our investment policy, our fiscal policies, these are responsible for the kind of situation that our youth faces today.
Right. I just want to go to Mr. Shailesh Gandhi on this argument that Vishwas Pathak put forward, saying that the mudra loans that have been handed out for people to start their own businesses so they don't need jobs, and plus the increase in PF numbers, which is something the government has been using as a crutch in this argument for a couple of months now. Mr. Gandhi, are you buying that argument? Because if you look around you, it doesn't feel like there are enough jobs for all the people in the country.
I think instead of arguing as to how many doctors and MAs do this or whether they are skilled or not, the fundamental fact is over 100 people, in fact these figures seem to indicate 200 people, are applying for a single job for railways or for police, and that too not at the highest level, at a fairly low level of entry, which shows that there is a lack of jobs. Let me assume for a moment that the management graduates are not skilled. Let me assume for a moment that the engineers are not skilled. But then there should be a shortage of people there, which is not happening. Every job, everywhere, there are hundreds of people who are applying for, which indicates that the number of jobs are very low compared, and unless we make this a priority one, getting enough jobs into the place. And my suggestion was, in terms of government, yes, I would certainly concede that increasing the efficiency of government employees would help. But you go to most offices and the standard story there is, we don't have enough staff, we have sanction strength, we are lacking in this, therefore we can't deliver. This is a serious problem. And Mr. Pathak mentioned 30% are in government. 20 to 30% of that is a large chunk. It's a huge chunk. Why doesn't, and I've not seen Mr. Pathak explain why the government doesn't fill up vacancies and make it a policy to ensure that vacancies are filled up consistently. There
the
is
armed
no
forces are understaffed.
There is no methodology to this.
Judiciary 40%.
Absolutely haphazard.
And the armed forces are also understaffed, like Mr. Shailesh Gandhi was saying. Let me give Mr. Vishwas Pathak an opportunity to respond, and you can both respond to him.
I can raise a point right now, and Vishwas Pathak can add to his reply. See, there are another aspect is that wherever the government has done their interviews, their written test and all examination, recruited people for years together, they have not issued the appointment letters. I recall another reputed channel who has been running almost a series for this, where state governments had put up the jobs, recruited people, and they are not giving them the opportunity to come and work.
All right.
This is a government responsibility.
Let Vishwas Pathak respond. Mr. Pathak, do you want to respond to what Mr. Shailesh Gandhi said, that we know that there are various departments of the government where the vacancies are not filled, including police. Most of our police forces are understaffed, and they've been understaffed for various years, including previous governments. So this is not specific to this government. Our armed forces are understaffed. All three wings of our armed forces are understaffed. Why can't we just make a decision to fill those positions, Mr. Pathak?
See, number one, this government job is contributing 30% of the total employment. Now, why government positions have not been filled up thus far? There are various reasons, including outsourcing, including digitization, including technology usage and all those things. Point here is that, just for information, when Mr. Modi committed employment generation, that doesn't mean government alone. And he is also aware that only government cannot fulfill the requirement of all. All he wanted to say that, including self-employment, informal, formal economy. Now I am relying on Social Outlook report. This Social Outlook report states in 2016, 17.7 million jobs have been created. In 2017, 17.8 million.
According to the Labour
18 million.
Ministry.
And for your information, in Southern Asia, India is contributing maximum job creation, which is something like 7.6%.
No.
As against 6.8%
okay, so,
in
Mr.
South
Pathak,
Asia.
I'm going to interrupt you here. First of all, you can't possibly suggest that government jobs are being outsourced. We do not outsource Army, Navy and Air Force, any portion of it. We do not outsource portions of the judiciary. There are several other jobs within the government that we don't outsource. To a suggestion that we are outsourcing and that's why the jobs are vacant is not fair. Also, according to the Labour Ministry, which is the only source we need to go by.
Authentic source.
Jobs added by various governments, the first 3 years of the BJP government added no more than 9 lakh jobs. So I don't know where you're getting your data from. Rajiv Mishra, go ahead, please.
फिर सबसे बड़ी बात अब देखो कि आउटसोर्सिंग की बात जो ये कर रहे हैं, आपको मैं बताऊं
एग्जांपल्स
पाठक साहब थोड़ा सा सुन लीजिए फिर ये वो पोस्ट है जो सैंक्शन पोस्ट है, ऑलरेडी सैंक्शन है लेकिन उस पर बहाली नहीं की गई है। ऐसा नहीं कि उसके लिए अलग से कोई सैंक्शन लेने की जरूरत है, ये सैंक्शन पोस्ट वैकेंट है। दूसरी बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात एक बार फिर मैं बता दूं, ये हालात तब हैं जब हमारे देश से प्रतिदिन आपको मैं बता रहा हूं कम से कम 10,000 लड़के वो विदेशों में नौकरी के लिए जा रहे हैं। और विदेशों में नौकरी के लिए क्यों जा रहे हैं? क्योंकि वहां पर फिक्स है कि अगर आप लेबर क्वालिटी में जाते हैं तो आपको मिनिमम 1000 दिरहम कंपनी को पे करनी पड़ती है, और अगर आप स्किल्ड हैं तो आपको 1200 दिरहम कम से कम उस स्किल्ड लेबर को मिलती है। तो अनस्किल्ड और स्किल्ड दोनों लेबर के लिए वहां फिक्स पे है। इसलिए हमारे देश के युवा इस देश को छोड़कर के बाहर में नौकरी करने को जा रहे हैं। यह स्थिति तब है जबकि हम मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ जो वैकेंसीज है वो हमारे फॉरेन में फिलअप हो रहे हैं, तब हमारे देश के युवाओं को इस तरीके से लाइन में लगनी पड़ रही है। मैं पाठक साहब से केवल इतना चाहता हूं कि वो केवल इस बात का खुलासा करें कि पर ईयर कितने हमारे देश के युवा विदेशों में रोजगार के लिए जाते हैं और हमारे देश में आपकी सरकार द्वारा कितना एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट किया जाता है। केवल ये 2 आंकड़े आप मेरे सामने रख दें तो सारी स्थिति स्पष्ट हो जाएगी।
Right, and Vishwas and Mr. Pathak, if you're telling us that you don't want to believe the Labour Ministry and the Labour Minister and their data, then there should be some. Do we deserve an overhaul in that ministry altogether if you don't want to take your own minister's data seriously?
No, I'm not disowning that. The Labour Ministry figures which you are showing is just talking about government job creation alone.
No, it's not talking about government.
Jobs which are created beyond that.
No, it's not talking about government job creation alone. Let me correct you. No, they're not talking about job government.
Social Outlook report, which gives how many jobs have been created, they are close to 2 crores per annum.
I'm reading this out of employment of quarterly report on the changes in employment in selected sectors, Government of India, Ministry of Labour and Employment. Labour Bureau. This is where the information is coming from. So, like I said, you are free to quote whatever private source you want to quote, but if we go by government sources, it's not looking good. It has not done well. I want to thank my guests for spending time with us this evening, helping us understand the problem. But we have to wrap up this conversation here. And in conclusion, it just boils down to one thing. If we have doctors and engineers and lawyers willing to run in the sun on the street in Mumbai for a 25,000 rupee constable, police constable's job, there are things we have to question. First of all, and from the point of view of that young person, whether or not you think their education was good enough, some parents spent money on that education. It is not easy in any part of our country to do an engineering or to do an LLB or to simply get a graduation. It costs money, it costs time. And a lot of times people have taken loans. After that, if we're going to say that these people are not entitled to any other job other than the constable, which again they're not able to get because 2 lakh of them applied for over 1,000 jobs, there's something seriously wrong in our country. Sociologically, what happens if we have these many young people unemployed and out of jobs? Do we have more unrest on the streets? Higher crime rates? Perhaps a protest that shuts down our cities every so often? Does any of this sound familiar? These are bad decisions, bad policies, and we need to stop now. Because if there's anything that's a ticking time bomb in this country, it's the unemployed youth and the numbers at which they're piling up every month, every year. If we don't come up with quick solutions, we're going to have trouble on our hands. Thanks for watching.